Is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Secretary, for your service to our country. Later this month, there will be a workforce housing summit in Columbus, Nebraska that I have worked to put together with the Columbus Chamber of Commerce. We're going to have FHFA Director Sandra Thompson. One of your leaders from your office in Omaha has kindly accepted an invitation, and representatives from the GSEs in attendance. The unemployment rate in Columbus is less than 2%. That sounds like a good thing, but Columbus has a severe worker shortage that is keeping its economy from growing the way that it should. There are over 2,000 available jobs in Columbus right now, and we're talking about a city with a population of only 24,000. A city administrator in Columbus described the problem in the following manner. She said, quote, "Even if they, meaning employers, attract the perfect person from out of town, if they don't have anywhere that they can find to live that meets their preference, then they're not going to come. I've heard story after story of people declining offers because they can't find a place to live or leave after a short period of time because they couldn't find a place to live," end quote. In Columbus, the worker shortage and housing supply shortage are intertwined. In order to get the workforce they need to grow, they need housing stock to provide places for those people to live. Inflation and the rising cost of building materials has made addressing this problem even more challenging. Over the last construction season, Columbus was supposed to have nearly 1,300 new units built in the city. However, when the costs rose again, the city lost most of those units. Secretary Fudge, can you just comment on this phenomenon in Columbus, Nebraska? Are you hearing about this in Midwestern cities across the heartland, across America, the short supply of housing, the inability to house workers, and its stifling economic development opportunities?
Unfortunately, it's not just in the Midwest. There's a crisis in housing in almost every city in America. Because we just have not, over the last really 30 years, invested in building moderate and low income and workforce housing. We just as a nation have not done it. And so we find ourselves now in a position where the shortage of houses is creating the exact problem. I was in Boulder, Colorado, the same thing. They can't get people to work there because they can't get there and they can't live there. So the problems are everywhere. It's not just in the Midwest.
You also have the vantage point of seeing the very best of America, the parts of America. Give me, if something comes, what comes to your mind when you think about a community that's working to solve this problem and they're making real headway, and what are they doing to make it work?
Well, the thing that I see that works most is that they actually have a plan as to how, and that includes all of the stakeholders, not just the government, not just us. They actually talk to people, local leaders. They talk to civic leaders. They talk to business people. They come up with a plan that they can work together to bring people into their communities. It can't be done by just us.
Right, understand, and I totally agree. Banks have to be involved, businesses have to be involved, employers have to be involved. Is there a city in America that has figured out the secret sauce to put that together and to use and develop a plan that we could point to and say, this is working here, they're solving this very issue in this community?
There are a number of them. I was in Alaska, and I sat together with a group of people. They are figuring out how to do it, and it's working well. Not that they don't have their problems. Every city does. Houston does a good job at it. Los Angeles does a good job at it. There are a number of communities all over the country who do a good job, big and small communities that do a great job.
Are you seeing a lot more multifamily housing units being built across America, people now renting instead of buying because they simply can't get into a house?
Well, what we are seeing is zoning and planning that is making it more difficult to build them, because it goes back to the old, I don't want it in my backyard.
And I am a sponsor of the YIMBY Act, and we hope to change that and working across the aisle to do that.
That will go far.
Well, thank you. I like to hear that. You know, the problem in Columbus, Nebraska is particularly serious, and I appreciate that your agency and the leadership in Nebraska out of the Omaha office are going to be present at this workforce summit. You're right, this isn't a problem that government can solve. Everybody in the community has to solve it, but as you work with your agency, please encourage everyone in your agency to know how much we appreciate them coming to Columbus, Nebraska, and any ideas off the wall or otherwise would be appreciated, because my goal as a congressman in the 1st District of Nebraska is to find opportunities, especially for folks, if dad's working 40 hours a week, mom's working 40 hours a week, they should have the American dream. They've earned it. That belongs to them. And so I appreciate your efforts, and I look forward to working with you on this. Thank you.
I appreciate yours as well. Thank you, Congressman.
I yield back.